Good morning and welcome to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm your host, Susan, and it's fantastic to be starting this Sunday morning with you on the one and only, the legendary WLS AM 890. We are Donley Auctions, auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, and veterans of vintage. Every week we connect passionate buyers with incredible finds from consigners all around the world. From military history and classic cars to rare coins and vintage coin-op machines, we are always chasing history and bringing it right here to the auction block. And you know what the best part is? You can join the auction too and bid live from anywhere on the planet. Our worldwide showroom is always open at DonleyAuctions.com. That's your spot to see every item up for bid, listen to our unfiltered podcast, and even catch up on any past shows you might have missed. Now, what about your collection? Do you have treasures gathering dust that you're ready to turn into cash? From a single amazing piece to an entire estate, let our team get you the true value you deserve. We'll take that large collection and, as we love to say, we'll make it fit in your wallet. Let's start the conversation right now. Email us a few photos to consign@DonleyAuctions.com or give our team a call at 815-923-7000. That's 815-923-7000. Write it down now. We have a packed hour for you today. We'll be previewing some absolute showstoppers coming to the block soon and sharing some crazy stories you'll only get to hear from the auction world. And of course, I'm joined in the studio today with Randy Donley and Mike Donley. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Susan. Mike is actually out with Dr. Mike Khanchalian right now. Dr. Mike has come in from California. He's going to be actually here on the show with us talking about antique phonograph records, Susan, in the second segment.
Dr. Mike, what kind of doctor is he?
Well, he's a dentist by trade, but he specializes in repairing antique cylinder records. The first phonograph records were made of wax. First commercially sold records. And so over the years, records broke or cracked.
I bet they did.
Dr. Mike is the guy to fix them.
That's right. What a special skill to have to be able to repair those and
It
listen
really
to
is.
them. And then he tells you what their value is, right?
Yes. Now, one of the reasons he's in town right now is because, as you know, Susan, we have this huge collection coming up of antique phonographs and rare phonograph records. And that is the collection out of Manhattan that we went.
That's right. I remember those stories.
Yes,
those
the
are good ones.
Koenigsberg auction. It's not only a big collection, it's a rare collection.
Right, best of the best, and I believe that's coming up next July.
That it is.
2026. We already got the calendar filling up, folks, so definitely if you have some antique music items to consign, let us know. Send us an email at consign@DonleyAuctions.com.
Now, Susan, just today we were notified that we just consigned another huge music auction with Nickelodeons, band organs, orchestrions, music boxes, phonographs. My goodness, this is going to be an auction of the century. It really is an incredible collection. Can't mention the folks' name yet that it's coming from. In another state, we'll be transporting it here.
So you're telling me we're going to be pretty busy here the next few months
my
at
goodness,
Donley Auctions.
It's crazy busy in auction world.
We need vacations, but I don't think anytime soon.
Nothing
so
I know of.
Keep that in mind that we're also hiring right now. We're going to need some help with these great collections coming in.
Yes, we need employees. We need more staff. We're very, very happy and fortunate with the staff that we have here at Donley Auctions. The only problem is we need more.
We need more of my A-team, yeah.
Yes, so if you know about antiques and you feel that you could be a describer, and that is simply a person that can look at an antique and even use their phone or their computer to look up research for us and write descriptions. We have thousands and thousands of items that need to be described properly. That's one job, but we also need labor.
Yeah, we need labor, and specifically in our shipping department, we need some help there because, as you know, we sell thousands of items. Most of those items have to be shipped from our in-house service that we provide.
I would say we probably do 85% of our business is online sales.
It is online, yes.
Which means the unintended consequence of selling online is, of course, you have to ship it.
Right.
So we've become a shipping service at the same time.
If they can't drive here to pick it up, then we got to figure out a way to get it to them. So we can ship a lot of standard size items. Think about the heaviness of a slot machine, for example. They're too heavy to put in a box and ship them. So we always rely on third-party transport companies that travel and crisscross across the country, picking up and delivering stuff to all of our buyers.
And you know, Susan, that's one thing for people to keep in mind when they're bidding at an auction. What's it going to cost to have it shipped? We'll have people constantly, and of course you know this better than anyone, Susan, somebody will buy an item because they think it's cheap.
Right. For example, like an Army footlocker.
Oh, footlockers and trunks are a couple of the worst.
I paid $5-10 for that thing. You're telling me it costs $200 to ship it? Yes, I am. I'm sorry you paid nothing for it, but imagine how big that is and how heavy it is to ship it
That's
anywhere.
correct.
So
you know, just because you bought it cheap doesn't mean it ships cheap,
That's
folks.
right. Shipping is
so
shipping.
Always keep shipping in mind when you're buying online, whether you're buying at our auction or any online service. You always have to consider the cost of shipping.
And we do put in all of our descriptions whether or not it is something that we can ship. If not, we always provide a list of contacts for people to call. We have many reliable sources that will come pick up your items and hand carry them door to door. It's a great service.
So speaking of auctions, what's next? What's the next auction Donley has coming up?
The next one coming up is November 22nd. It's a Saturday. Our Native American and Old West auction is a one-day auction. It is live. So come on out, folks, to 8512 South Union Road. We're only like 45 minutes from O'Hare. Actually, I can get there in 40 minutes.
I'm sure you can, Leadfoot.
Yeah. We're west towards Rockford, 45 minutes, right up Route 20. The auction is live. You can come out here and see everything. We have a preview on Friday, the 21st, from noon until 7 p.m. Wait until you see some of these great items.
Well, wait a second. Are you telling me the auction is actually next week?
I think the 22nd is next week.
Wow.
Yes. Where's our life going, honey?
Yes, I just
Flying
can't
by.
imagine how quick that came up.
Yeah,
but
we're ready, though. I mean, people can come out next week, Friday, to preview the items because there is just some amazing rare things in this auction.
Wow. It is amazing. There's a lot of good, interesting, rare pieces in here, but most of what's being sold is at no reserve. This is an auction where people can really get some bargains.
Well, I think so, too. And not just that, but we're preserving history.
That's for sure,
Great items there. You know that big coat?
It's a buffalo coat, is it not?
Coat.
Yeah.
I think it's got to move towards the entryway so people can see it when you first walk in. I think it's magnificent. Not one, but two of them.
That's right. We've got buffalo coats. I mean, we've got vintage clothing. We've got vintage firearms. We've got Native American collections of early basketry and arrowheads, you name it. And not only that, Susan, along with all the cowboy and Western and Native American, there's a large selection of furniture.
I know. All that furniture is in such great condition, and it's highly collectible. Arts and crafts furniture is just great construction for a table.
You know, when we say, folks, all the time that we are not selling furniture, I mean, Donley Auctions traditionally does not take furniture for sale because most furniture, antique furniture like Victorian or Eastlake or that period of time, really doesn't sell well anymore. But certain furniture does, like this arts and crafts. We have Stickley and some of the best makers of original arts and crafts furniture, which was that 1905, 1910 period of time, very, very Frank Lloyd Wright-esque, you know.
I know a lot of the mid-century modern furniture is highly collectible right now. We haven't seen a lot of it out there. I think people are hanging on to it, but that's something we would definitely consider for an upcoming auction. And a lot of the stuff that we get there's no like designer flair to it or anything. So, you know, we're just not taking normal everyday furniture by any means. Nobody wants it anymore.
But do send us a photograph. Where should they send them?
send us a photograph of what you do have, because you never know until we take a look at it at consign at Donley, that's DONLEY, auctions.com. I do want to ask you, Randy, about lot number 1238. It is a rare, extinct passenger pigeon display.
Carrier pigeons are really very highly collectible. I mean, this particular bird is extinct, this one that we have here in the glass cabinet.
It's got some major bidding going on right now. I believe it is probably one of the hottest items in the auction as we're watching the bids go up and up and up on that.
Well, as well it should.
Can't wait to see. Yeah,
again,
it's definitely worth it.
It's quite a scarce item, and it'll be interesting to see what it goes for.
Let's break a record on that one. How about?
And you never know, ladies and gentlemen. We keep telling everybody this. If you have items to sell, old, antique, collectible, these type of things, you always want to consider the auction process to sell your items. Because if you don't know the value, and most people don't, I mean, I had no idea what this particular stuffed bird was going to go for.
Yeah, well, it became extinct in 1914. I mean, think how old that is.
Well over 100 years old. You just don't know. Competitive bidding in the auction process is what really tells you what items are worth. Otherwise, we're all playing the best guessing game.
Well, we have thousands of people looking at this auction, so keep that in mind when you want to do a garage sale and it's raining and only 10 people show up. You know, put it up for auction and you got thousands from across the world. Again, now this particular item, even though the display case and everything is a shippable item, we are not going to ship it because it is so rare. We want somebody to hand carry it to your home when you do win it. So keep that in mind. We will definitely provide third-party transport companies that will help get it to you. But all you museums out there, definitely take a look at the auction at DonleyAuctions.com, particularly lot number 1238. That's 1230.
And there's so many interesting items. We've got a full-size, a full-mounted buffalo.
It's a bison, right?
It is. Bison, buffalo. It's same.
That's the one from the Wild West Town.
It was in the Wild West Town for the past 40 years.
Remember, we used to have one in the restaurant.
In the restaurant and saloon, yeah.
Donley's Old West Steakhouse and Saloon, and people used to sit on it at weddings. That's not the same one, though, I don't think.
It is not the same one. That one actually ended up going to McCaskey's Arlington Ale House.
The Arlington Ale House in Arlington,
so
Illinois. Go stop by, say hi to Kevin, and sit on the bison.
Tweet out to the Arlington Ale House, one of our favorite places to go.
I'm telling you, that was one of our biggest hazards. Drunk people on a bison. Picture it. I mean, especially brides, grooms, wedding party people would get up on top of there, sit up there for photo ops, right? Fall off onto the wood floor. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. And sometimes I would joke with them and tell them, you know, if you lift up the tail right here and put a quarter in the slot, it'll move. It'll move for you.
We're on the air on Sunday, Susan. Oh, geez, Louise. Okay, is it true that the Edward Wright Spanish-American War uniform is in that auction?
It is. It's coming up. Lot number, I think that's 1313A.
This is really interesting because I went...
1314A. Correction, please.
Years ago, I flew to Biloxi to pick up a man's World War II flight jacket. And I bought his flight jacket because I was collecting World War II items. And I noticed a picture of a motorcycle. An early Harley Davidson. And I said to him, my goodness, I said, is the bike for sale? And the guy actually started crying. And I go, oh my God, what did I say? And he said, well, my son was just killed. He passed away. He was killed in a motorcycle accident. And I go, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And he said, now that you're mentioning this and you're here for my military relics, you might as well buy my father's jacket. He said, I was saving it for my son. He said, but my father was in the Spanish-American War.
Oh, wow.
And he said, I have his uniform. And he said, you really should have it because you're in Union, Illinois. My father was from Hampshire, Illinois. And so I ended up here in Biloxi buying a Spanish-American War uniform that actually charged up San Juan Hill with Teddy Roosevelt.
Come on.
And so we'll be selling off the jacket and hat from Company D, Spanish-American War, in this auction.
Talk about provenance. Tell people how important just knowing all that information is to the value of this item.
Well, you're just spot on. Provenance is everything, because if that was just a jacket and hat,
right, without the story and the history.
Without the history
nothing
behind it, it would probably be worth less than half. Of the value, not knowing specifically.
And we've got all the proof that goes with it that it actually is part of history.
So the provenance, folks, is so important, and the history behind it. Other interesting items, we have a complete Native American outfit, the jacket, the pants, the headdress, a Native American costume that was actually used at the 101 Ranch, which was every bit as popular as the Buffalo Bill Wild West show.
Right.
The 101 Ranch had Wild West shows for years and years, over 100 years ago, of course, and this outfit was actually used at the 101 Ranch.
Wow, it's actually a beautiful display piece on an Indian mannequin, but all of that was at the Wild West Town Museum as well, right? That was one of them?
Yes, and I say this all the time. I bring this up, and I hate to overuse this expression, but it's so true. There's this little sliver of time when collections become available, because the Wild West Town was in business over 50 years. And in that 50-year period of time, nothing was available for sale. My father was a big collector, and at any price, he didn't want to sell his collection.
He didn't want to sell it, no. It was just to look at.
It was never about the money. So he collected it and coveted it. But when we closed the Wild West Town now, these items have become available for sale to the highest bidder, of course. And now, and only now, these items are on the market. And once they get bought up again, Susan, they'll probably be in somebody's collection again for off the market for another 20 years.
I don't think we'll see them again for a while. It's kind of sad, but I'm
probably
sure they're going to go
lifetime.
to a great home. So definitely check out the auction. It's coming up next week, November 22nd. Come on out to Union, Illinois to see everything in person. You can touch it, smell it, feel it, look at it. Ask us questions for sure. I got my experts here. If you have any questions about these items before you bid, that's the way to do it. You need to look at everything first. Go online at donleyauctions.com, click on the red button, and you'll be able to see our magnificent photos of every item that's in the catalog.
Now, we're talking right now about the items that we have up for sale. But let's talk just the opposite. Let's talk about how people can consign their items, because I always mention that we're on Sunday in between two financial shows. So we really become somewhat of a financial show. We're on the air explaining to you how you can turn items that you have into money, into cash, and make it fit in your wallet, so to speak. So, Susan, what would be the first step if somebody has items at home and they are considering selling? What would be their first step to get a hold of us?
Well, let me tell you what happened over the weekend. I was here on Sunday getting ready. We were getting ready to dismantle that band organ, and there was some stuff in the way. So I heard the phone ringing, and I went and grabbed the phone, and he goes, I just heard you guys on the radio. I missed what you said. I got the phone number. And I said, oh, good. I'm glad you got it, because I've been told I say it too fast, and that you can't write it down quick enough. But 815-923-7000, that's our number. 815-923-7000. He called and he goes, I just wanted to find out, what do I need to do? I have such and such. I said, that is a great question. Here's all you need to do. We're going to keep it simple. Send us a picture. We need photos of what you have. That's the best way to do it. Unless you're living around the corner, down the street, or less than an hour away, you can always come out and set up an appointment and show us and talk to us like, the Antique Roadshow, right? But it's best to just send a photo, save yourself the drive time. Email us at consign, that's CONSIGN, at donleyauctions.com. We need to know, because I asked him, I said, well, where are you located? What do you have? How many items do you have? Can you bring them to us? Do we need to come pick them up? Give me all that information, and we print everything out and give it to our specialist that can answer all those questions, and we take it from there. It's very easy.
And, folks, we will, and I promise you, we will answer everybody that sends us photographs, but you'll know pretty quick how important your items are by how quick I answer.
Yeah,
because
Randy, when did this come in? Oh, it just came in. I need to get on the phone now. Okay, here's the phone number. Calm down, calm down.
I
We
have
got
been
it.
known to be on the plane the same day to go to Florida or California or New York. When the right items come in, one thing you won't find from me is I'll never be cagey about, well, your items are pretty good. No, if they're good, you're going to know
You're
about
gonna
it
know.
right away
Yeah.
because I am that excited about it. And when there's items that are good and rare and exciting,
You
we
gotta
go
jump on
after
it.
them.
You gotta jump on it.
We want those items for
Yeah.
auction because we want to make you money. And that's how we make money. You see, we charge a percentage, we charge a commission on every item that we sell. But the more money I make you, the more money we make for our company. So our job is to find the rarest, the most expensive, the hardest items to find so that we can sell them for, of course, the most money.
That's right.
But I don't want you to think that's all we take.
Right. That's not all we take, but there are many that we don't take. And we do let you know right away, I'm sorry, that's not something that we can sell for you. We don't have the market for that. Or the value is just not there. It's probably not worth your time or ours. But we'll let you know that too and always give you some options on what you could possibly do with it.
We will come out and view a collection. We need you to send us the photographs first, and then you'll get a phone call right away, or as soon as possible, I should say. And if it's something that we want to consign, regardless of where you are, right now I have airfare, and I hope the lockdown doesn't continue and the airports.
Oh, no, it better be good to go by next
the
week.
airports reopen. I have to go to Colorado. I have to go to New York. I have to go to Florida. We're all over, and we've got consignments already consigned in Michigan, in Indiana, in Florida. We are going all over the country to pick up items, good items.
That's right. So keep that in mind. If Randy's coming to your town or your state, give us a call if you'd like to set up an appointment. We'll make sure he can get you on his appointment schedule, and you can talk to him in person or meet up somewhere or something. We've met people in the IHOP parking lot with a truck, open the trunk of military relics and stuff like that.
It's so funny because the last time we met somebody in the parking lot, a gentleman shows up with military relics, and he had a really good collection that we were able to consign, but he also had a box full of firearms, and I said, we're not pulling these out in the parking lot right now, and they have to be shipped properly.
Yeah, they do.
Now, we have a FFL, Federal Firearms License, so we can help you with anything you need to do with the sale of firearms, whether it's one item or an entire collection, or even fully automatic weapons. We have what is referred to as a Class 3 dealer's license. So if you have legal, fully automatic weapons, we can put those into the proper hands, most of which go to museums and big private collections.
So that allows us to sell cannons.
Cannons and tanks.
Cannons and
my
tanks.
favorites.
Yeah, always looking who's got a cannon today. You know someone who does? Give us a call at 815-923-7000.
And of course, I'm always looking for a Sherman tank.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you just never know.
We've had military Jeeps. We've had all kinds of great stuff like
We've
that.
had
Airplanes.
so many. Yeah. We had a big German 88 cannon, which is about as rare as it gets in German cannons, which actually was brought home by a GI. He spent the money. He captured a German 88, folks, and he had it shipped home so that he could put it proudly in front of his VFW hall. And it sat there for years until the hall disbanded, and then we were able to buy the cannon. We bought it outright and
Was that the
resold
one that?
it.
Oh, there was one I remember. We were driving somewhere, and you saw one on the roof, on the corner of a building. I don't know where we were. Do you remember that? And we had to turn around and go back, and you said, "There's a cannon on the roof of that building."
No, we found them even in stranger places, but
Yeah.
Always looking. And if you know of anybody that has a biplane for sale, I'm looking for aircraft also, biplanes especially. Just
Okay.
don't know. They're still around in barns and air hangars all over. and motorcycles, vintage military motorcycles and or any motorcycles, cars, Petroliana, you name it, we need it
Anything
for
with
upcoming
wheels
auctions.
or wings. Wheels or wings, we'll take it. Those are the kind of items we can sell in multiple types of auctions. I know we usually hold themed auctions, but that type of stuff can go into many different categories. So definitely let us know. Send us an email at consign@donleyauctions.com. And real quick, I just want to remind everybody, too, of 2 more auctions coming up because I'm going to talk more about it next week. Thursday, December 4th, is my razor blade advertising display auction. That it will be an online-only auction, and what that means is you don't have to come here. You can bid on it live from the privacy of your own home. So check that out. Go to our catalog at donleyauctions.com.
In the next segment, again, we're coming up with Dr. Mike and Mike Donley to talk about antique phonograph records.
Okay, Randy, well, we have to take a quick break. Folks, don't go anywhere. In the meantime, if you're ready to sell your collection or even a single item, give us a call at 815-923-7000. That's 815-923-7000. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on WLS AM 890. We'll be right back. That right there, that's the sound of history, a sound over 130 years old, captured on a fragile, spitting piece of wax. Today, we're chasing history with one of the world's top experts on cylinder records. These aren't just antiques, they're time capsules, and you won't believe the stories and the value locked inside some of these forgotten treasures. You might even have some in your attic. We are Donley Auctions, and this is the Donley Auctions Hour. Stick around.
Welcome back to the Donley Auction Hours here on WLS AM 890. I'm Mike and Randy, and joining us now is our good friends from Monrovia, California, Mike Khanchalian and his wife Janine. They've come in to help us with the Koenigsberg collection coming up here, which is going to be in end of July. Big phonograph collection, probably one of the finest phonograph collections in the country. Mike specializes in repairing and restoring and identifying rare wax cylinder records, very early cylinder records. And the cylinder records are basically the shape of, they're round and long. They look like a little oversized toilet paper tube, pretty much, correct?
Pretty much oversized, about 4 inches long, 2 inches in diameter.
Of course, Edison invented the phonograph in 1877, and we all know that he recorded on tinfoil, first being known as the tinfoil phonograph. So before we talk more about cylinder records, could I ask you, Mike, were tinfoil records ever commercially sold, or did they start with wax?
The phonographs were eventually, when I say phonographs, the tinfoil phonograph was either rented or could be sold, but the records themselves were nothing but a sheet of tinfoil that was wrapped around a cylindrical drum. The recording was placed on it, but in order to use it again, you would have to remove the cylinder, which was nothing but a sheet of tinfoil, and to place it back exactly as it was with all the grooves lined up correctly was an exercise in futility, pretty much.
So the few tinfoil records that ever existed were pretty much a one and done.
They were always a one and done. There's only several of them that we ever got the sound off of again, and that's done by computer and laser. And you'd lay that sheet of tinfoil down and trace each recorded line of modulation. They'd have to put it together on the computer like a puzzle. So they've actually had success with, I think, 2 or 3 original tinfoil recordings, at least to get the sound off. But you would never do it by putting it back on the machine. You'd never line it up right.
So phonograph records that were first commercially sold came out in what, about 1895?
There were some available by 1889.
Oh, wow.
But
okay.
They were too expensive and not really available to the public. You would purchase them if you were a dealer or an exhibitor going around and playing these for people who'd never heard them before, in a hall or I guess in a home rarely, but most of the public did not get into this until 97, 98. I mean, it came in like color TV very slowly, right? Only the very wealthy would have a phonograph machine until about 1895, 6, 7.
Gotcha.
So when you talk about the people that rented the machines and went around the country, they were basically doing exhibitions, public expositions.
Public exposition.
Where people would pay an admission to a church or basement or something, and
Sure.
they would hear the phonographs.
Yes.
It was that exciting and that novel for
That
people.
novel. And of course, the other use, and this is the use that Edison originally considered or wanted, was for office dictation. And so they were dictating machines that very wealthy entrepreneurs might have to record their letters or stenography and then have them copied later.
That eventually morphed into the dictaphone.
Yes.
So Edison's original intended use for the phonograph was probably as a business machine and not an entertainment device the way it became.
Yes, he did not want it for entertainment. Unfortunately, the public decided differently.
And who changed all that then? Who started putting music onto the cylinders?
Edison did a little bit of it in the beginning, 1889. We were talking about these very earliest cylinders. No, they did that in a very limited basis.
Okay.
And you could buy pre-recorded stuff.
But who really brought it to the public in a big way? Was that Columbia? Or?
When Columbia started doing it, Edison didn't appreciate it very much. But Columbia figured out was probably the first phonograph company, and they were related to Alexander Graham Bell and some of those interests, who really saw that entertainment cylinders was really going to be where the profit was going to come from. And that was true. And they really started putting out the stuff early, 1890, 91.
Hearing Dr. Mike lay out this history is incredible. It makes me think, what's hiding in your attic or even your parents' basement? You see an old cardboard tube or a box of junk and think nothing of it, right? But to a collector, that junk could be a missing piece of history. It could be the one recording they've been searching for their entire life. And that's where we come in. We are Donley Auctions. That's Donley, D-O-N-L-E-Y. We are auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, and veterans of vintage. If you've got old phonographs, cylinder records, or any high-end antiques that you are curious about, don't just guess. Get an expert opinion. It costs you nothing to find out, so take a picture on your phone. Email it to us at consign@donleyauctions.com. That's consign, C-O-N-S-I-G-N, at donleyauctions.com. You truly never know what treasure you might be sitting on. All right, let's get back to Dr. Mike. I want to know what these things were actually like.
The first cylinder records we're talking about here were made of wax, brown wax, correct? And most of these didn't have a title stamped into them. They actually would announce the title and the company at the beginning.
You always had to announce the title because no one would know. It wasn't like a modern LP or vinyl, as they call them now, in a jacket that would give you all the information. So consequently, it was announced in the beginning. And some of them made very glorious announcements, but the longer announcement you make, the content is constricted.
That's another thing. These only played for 2 minutes, correct?
Yes,
The
sometimes a
brown wax.
little longer because they were slower in their rotational speed.
But basically, and there was all types of things. There was singing, there was recitations, there was presidential speeches on there, storytelling, jokes, anything people would want that was on there. And a lot of these were made by small companies, correct? That are just one. You just find one recording from a company today that might exist, or
Yeah, some of us collectors are really interested in companies that just came and went. And Thomas Edison was after any company that was trying to exploit his invention. So
They
a lot of the
just zoom out
companies
of
didn't
existence.
last. Didn't last very long. A lot of them. And of course, the records that we're very interested in are recordings of famous people, famous singers, because in the early days of recording, we're talking 1890 to 1900, there was no interest in the part of the phonograph companies to record famous people. That didn't occur to them. You recorded somebody whose loud voice could actually cut the wax, as we say, and make an audible recording.
and were a lot of these just individuals? They didn't have any molds in the beginning, did they? To
They
mold the cylinders
experimented
from?
with them, but they were not commercially viable that
So
early.
somebody, an orchestra might have to play that same song all day long, recording record after record after
They
record.
did. I've talked to people who are conductors or whatnot, and they will listen to a cylinder and they said, man, that is at the end of a very long day. The way they're playing, they are exhausted. And but they would sell them. Hey, people wanted to hear something coming out of a machine, so even if it was lousy, it was sound, and it was,
And what would a record cost back then?
They could be $5, $8 a piece.
$5 in 1890.
When you're making $15 a week, if you're lucky, that's why
I
most
can't even
people
imagine
didn't
what
buy
that
it.
would translate to today.
Too much.
Probably well over $100. Oh, yes,
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Mike Donley and I, we brothers here, we've probably known you for over 30 years.
Over, indeed.
And we know you through phonograph collecting. How many years ago did you actually start collecting antique phonographs?
I was interested in records as early as when I was 3 and 4 years old, and I did have some early picture records and things like that. I learned everything I could about phonographs and records. I bought records in junior high, high school, just fascinated with it because I loved history, and I'm very auditory. So those things came together. But I saved, I went into dental school, and when I got out of dental school, within 3 months, I bought my first cylinder phonograph in 1899 Triumph, and I was very happy with it and still have it.
So you've been collecting more of your life than not.
Oh, by far.
And you mentioned dental school, so we in the circles, of course, all know that you are a dentist. You know, we still call you Dr. Mike,
Yeah.
and not because of your dentistry, but because of your work with repairing antique phonograph records.
Yes.
It's just amazing what you do. I mean, I've seen wax records totally broken that I would think should be discarded, and yet you take the time and put them back together and make them work again.
Yeah.
How did you ever discover that you could do such a thing?
I had one that broke when I was probably 13 years old, and I was heartbroken. My aunt bought it for me because she would always get me into antiques. She loved antiques. She'd buy me something. I'd say, "What is this?" And she would say, "Well, you research it." She was a 4th grade teacher and a good one. She would say, "You research it and you tell me what you find out," which was deadly because I did. And I kept researching and kept finding out things. And everybody said, "Well, we don't know anything. You'll have to figure it out." And eventually I figured it out, whatever I wanted to know. And the next thing I know, everybody's coming at me to have me teach them stuff. So it's kind of funny how that worked out. But after that record broke, I talked to 1 or 2 people and they said, "Oh, you can't fix those. That's impossible," which was nothing but an invitation to spur me on. First, I tried white glue, found out that doesn't work. Super glue, when that came out, that didn't work properly. And I finally learned, without boring the audience to tears, that because there are such fine grooves on the outside of a cylinder, if it's broken in a number of pieces, and you put glue on that broken interface, that has a certain thickness and you've thrown everything off. You know, so I had to learn, as I did in dental school, how to handle wax with heat and how to get different wax pieces to rejoin, just reheating those interfaces and getting them to join again. So I taught myself a lot of tricks in dentistry, and I was able to apply some of those to figuring out how to repair a cylinder. And it just grew. And then people started to ask me, "Hey, look what you did to that record. Would you do that for me?" And it just got out of hand.
Well, we had a chance to ask you that on a couple of occasions. One of them was, do you remember, Randy, that you had bought some things out of the Women's Christian Temperance Union or something downtown Chicago?
I do remember.
Now we're going back.
And
WCTU.
Yeah.
They had some broken records,
Frances
some brown
Willard.
wax records.
Frances
Frances
Willard,
Willard, yeah.
and that she had recorded on an Edison Class M, like the early recording phonographs, and they had never heard her voice. And you took those records and put them back together.
Yeah.
And Randy brought them out there and played them for him, and he said
Incredible.
the women had tears in their eyes.
They really did. They had worked their whole life, and of course had never heard the woman. She was long past since they were ever around. So it was quite a thrill.
It's thrilling for me to watch people with tears in their eyes when you restore something that means that much, whether it's a great grandparent or some other famous person or something. I've played opera recordings for opera singers from 120 years ago. They're in tears all over the place. So it's very meaningful.
Those are just incredible stories. Hearing a voice from the past like that, wow, that is what we mean when we say chasing history. It's not just about an item, it's about the story. That's the passion Dr. Mike brings, and it's the same passion we have at Donley Auctions for all the amazing items our consigners bring us. We're not just selling stuff, we're saving these stories and finding them a new home. And speaking of amazing stories, Dr. Mike even repaired a record for us that has a direct tie to the old Wild West town.
Well, you repaired an important record for us. It was, to us, valuable, and that was when Tiny Tim, a recording artist, came here to our Wild West town years ago. We recorded him on a cylinder phonograph.
That's right.
And we played it so many times for the public here as we'd give tours that eventually that record, in fact, did crack and break, and you were able to put that back together for us. We still have that in the collection today.
Tiny Tim tiptoe through the tulips on brown wax.
Yeah, we
That he did,
digitized that
That's
stuff.
what he was famous for.
That's it. And we did one with Mike Donley on it, but that's another story.
Yeah, that was another one, a banjo thing that I had recorded when I was about 10 years old, yeah.
There you go. Now, Janine, you're sitting there patiently just listening away. What do you think of the hobby of collecting antique phonographs? I mean, there's been so many collectors that we've met over the years who are passionate about the hobby. We rarely get to talk to anybody's wife. Do you collect yourself? Are you involved in the hobby on any regularity?
Well, I thought it might catch me and get me involved, and I haven't ever really gotten that, but I really support what he does, and it's just been amazing over the years to see all the different projects, and especially the people. We've met so many awesome people and had just neat experiences, and I'm just thankful for the enrichment that you bring to a lot of people and to our
It
household.
really has been a fun hobby, hasn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, you bring that up, the people that we've all met in this hobby. It's really been fascinating. But more importantly, I think in any collecting hobby, we're very fortunate if we have a spouse that supports us in what we all do in our hobby. Without that, it just doesn't work.
No. It's an amazing blessing to have a spouse who's supportive and understands that it balances life a little bit. I mean, I can only look at teeth and plaque for so long, during the week. And it's a great balance. And I seem to have a granddaughter who's very musical right now at almost 2 years old, and I get excited about that.
Well, you bring up a very interesting point, and that's the grandkids. One of the problems with collecting today, be it phonographs or just about any hobby, is bringing the youth into collecting, because we see that collecting seemed to be a generational thing. When all the collectors now have gotten old, a young collector today would be in his early 60s, I would say. So there's nobody 20, 30 years old really taking up the reins in these hobbies. So it is so important, even doing what we do, talking about these type of things on the air, to try to get the next generation involved in our hobbies.
Oh, that's absolutely true. I used to do a lot of cylinder repair for a lot of the legendary collectors, who a lot of them are gone now. There's a couple of young guys that are beating down my door now to repair all kinds of cylinders again, which is nice in a way. I'm glad that there's younger, I think this kid's in his 30s or something. We're trying to get him interested, one person at a time.
And that's a key point. We hear it every single day at the auction house. My kids just don't want this stuff. But here's the secret, folks. Just because your family doesn't want it doesn't mean it isn't incredibly valuable. That's the power of an auction. Donley Auctions markets to specialized collectors all over the world. Your collection of old stuff could be someone else's holy grail. You've spent a lifetime building that collection. Don't let it go for pennies at a garage sale. Let us find the right people who value it as much as you did. You might have a massive collection taking up your entire house and you just don't know what to do with it. Bring it to us at Donley Auctions, and of course, we'll make it fit in your wallet. It's that simple. We are the specialists. We don't do estate sales, but we do focus on high-end antiques, coin-operated machines, advertising, militaria, vehicles, and of course, the best of the best. Get a free, no-obligation evaluation. Send us your photos at consign@donleyauctions.com. And if you want to start your collection or just have a great time, come on out to one of our live in-person auctions. They are always entertaining, always exciting. You never know the stories we're going to tell. We've got complimentary food and beverages. It's just a fun atmosphere. And if you can't make it, you can bid online from anywhere in the world. Find our auction schedule and consign your items at donleyauctions.com. That's Donley, D-O-N-L-E-Y, auctions.com. Or give us a call at 815-923-7000, 815-923-7000.
The likelihood of any of us getting the next generation interested in cylinder records is probably slim to none, because the music is now so old that most people in their teens or 20s wouldn't even want to listen to it.
A lot of us were passionate about things that we experienced at our grandparents' house for whatever reason. And so we collect what we collect when we're our young little age of over 60. Of course, on a slight side note, at her grandparents' house, my granddaughter is seeing some of this early music stuff. So I'm hoping that's what she remembers about us and wants to get into the old stuff again as we experience it. But who knows?
You know, I mentioned just seconds ago whether something is valuable or not. And of course, it's one of the questions that we get on our show all the time is, what's it worth? You know, that we're squeezed in on Sunday here in between two financial shows. People want to know about money, what they should be investing in, or how to invest their money. One thing that I keep telling people, for the most part, when they call me with old cylinder records, is most of them have no value. I mean, we're talking $1, $2 a piece. I mean, and looking at a cylinder record, a novice or a non-collector would look at an Edison record in its original box and think, oh my God, I've got something here. This has got to be worth, $100. They have no idea how inexpensively you could get into this hobby. However, now you're here to identify the rarity of the records that we have in this upcoming collection. And you've already pointed out there's several records that are worth $1,000 a piece. Is that at all common when you find a box of cylinder records in the average home?
No, it's very uncommon. And I do have patients that very often will say, hey, I've got a box of cylinder records. Do you want to take it off my hands? And rarely do I find anything much of interest there. I had somebody gave me a big box of wax records that were all turning into tiny little pieces in front of me. Can you make this play? Not when it's pulverized. But the really rare stuff, such as what we're looking at now, a lot of it was collected in the 40s and 50s and 60s and was rare then because the person collecting it knew what he was looking for.
He was an advanced collector, and he really was target collecting back then.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, for example, when I was looking for these early evangelical recordings by Ira Sankey, the most well-known Christian singer between 1865, 70, and 1900, those records were produced maybe for 3 months by a little brown wax cylinder company in 1899 that went out of business by 1901. And this fella, who was known all over the country, recorded for just 3 or 4 months. And the records were, most of them went moldy within 2 to 3 years because they were the type that did, and they were mostly sold on the East Coast. So that's an example of something that's very, very rare. I've found about 25 of them looking all across the world, with people looking over 25, 30 years. I haven't found any more, and that's not the kind of thing my neighbor is going to just suddenly hand me. They would have the kind of general commercial cylinders their grandpa or somebody bought many, many, many years ago, and there are plenty others around in collections.
And that's some of the music is good and memorable, but the records were called indestructibles, which they really were, because now here they are 100 years later,
still here.
And they're still it's perfect playable condition as when they were new.
You know, that ad, have an elephant step on them. Well, I wouldn't recommend that.
No, but
the early wax cylinders never should have ever even been touched on the outside playing surface. When you hold a cylinder record, you should always use your fingers on the inside of the cylinder tube to hold it and not touch the outside playing surface. We are looking for more items, always looking for more phonographs and phonograph records, especially cylinder records, whether it's one item or an entire collection. You can contact us at Consign at DonleyAuctions.com, DONLEY, auctions with an S, or give us a call at 815-923-7000. That's 815-923-7000. Mike and Mike, you've got a little treat for us right now.
We're going to be actually demonstrating a cylinder phonograph here. We'll be playing a selection here shortly, and Mike is setting it up right now. I don't know what he's got
And we
planned
know
for us.
you can't see this, so watch our podcast. We'll be able to show you a little more on the podcast. Let's go to Donley Auctions and look at our podcast. You'll see more about phonographs and everything. But right now, here you go. Here is an original recording of a Edison cylinder record.
You're a grand old rag, sung by Billy Murray, Edison Records. There's a feeling, comes a feeling, and it sets my brain a-reeling when I'm listening to the music of a military band. Steady to my Yankee Doodle simply sets me off my noodle. It's a patriotic something that no one can understand. Way down south in the land of cotton, melody untiring, ain't that inspiring? Hurrah, hurrah, we'll join the jubilee, and that's going some for the Yankees by gum. Red, white, and blue, I am for you. Honest, you're a grand old rag. You're a grand old rag. You're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true under red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or brag. What should old acquaintance be? For God, keep your eye on the grand old rag. You're a grand old rag. You're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true under red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or brag. What should old acquaintance be? For God, keep your eye on the grand old rag.
Well, that just about wraps it up for the week. We hope you enjoyed our show and hope you join us here next weekend.
I'd like to thank
next
Mike and
Sunday.
Janine, for
Thank
coming
Mike and
out.
Janine
How
for
long
coming.
are you in town?
Pleasure to be here. We'll be here another, 6 days?
Yeah. You got plenty of work. I'm working them like a rented mule.
Time is going so fast every day, I can't even believe it.
we're working from sun up till sundown here, literally, working, trying to get this collection in place. So for now, I'm Mike.
I'm Mike.
I'm Janine.
I'm Susan.
And I'm Randy Donley, and we'll
see you at the auction.